Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on in to Broad Street Sports Unfiltered. Proudly sponsored by Broad Street Sports, your home for the best Philly sports talk every day and unfiltered. Welcome on in. Over the weekend, we had a disastrous, pathetic, uninspiring series from our baseball team. So obviously it's rightfully so that on this Monday, a beautiful Monday, by the way, not too hot, sunny out, beautiful, not a lot of wind. It's a great day outside. So on this beautiful Monday, then another reason why it's beautiful, there's no Phillies baseball to piss me off today. Not an ounce of Phillies baseball. So where we'll start today is, it's just rightfully so. It's a Phillies vent session. So obviously you guys want to call in, vent, rant, be angry about what we saw out of this baseball team over the weekend. You can do that, 215-839-8246. The number is also on the screen. So without further ado, I have to start it right here, man. This was a chance for the Phillies to go out and show that they can play baseball and win without Bryce Harper. But, they got pantsed. And they rolled over and pissed themselves. Without Bryce Harper, this team has no identity. They are beyond clueless. Trey Turner can't field a simple ground ball to get the team out of a jam. Then you have Weston Wilson, turning other way, can't track a fly ball in left field. This team is beyond clueless when it comes to playing baseball without Bryce Harper. So, they showed the league. Now, you didn't retaliate, but now you've also shown the league that without Bryce Harper, you aren't a baseball team. Without Bryce Harper, you aren't a baseball team. That's what you showed the rest of the league. You showed the league you have no business. Pitchers can't pitch. Guys can't field simple ground balls. Outfielders can't catch fly balls. Hitters I was at the, now let me tell you this. I was at the game Friday night. So I was there. My second game in a week, or in the same week. So I'm at the game. And and I'm sitting there and I'm watching. Now trying to watch sports games is different now than than before, because now I do it in like a sports talk kind of a guy lens. Like I watch a game differently. I watch a game more in depth. Like it feels different. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching the game, and then it was the most feeble at bats over and over and over again. The most pathetic at bats a baseball team could put together. Pathetic in every way, shape, or form. The most pathetic at bats in game one. They were uninspiring. They were like trying to watch this. It was like I could have put a better AB together myself. Just me. I went back for all 9 guys and put up better ABs than anybody else. Swinging at pitches out of the zone. Getting themselves out. Ground rolling over. Not taking good pitches. Let's take a phone call. What's up? State your name and where you're from.
Hey.
What's
Big
up?
Brock from the 856.
Yo.
What you think about the Saquon Barkley being on the Madden cover? You think it's going to be a curse?
It may be. It may. I don't know, though. I don't know. I don't think so.
He might be doomed. I'm thinking he's doomed.
You do? Think it's doomed?
He might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
No good luck. That shit's a curse.
What do you have on the Phillies?
I don't know. They gotta figure out something. They need a right-handed bat. They gotta fix their friggin' defense.
And the bullpen, right? The bullpen?
Well, it's always the bullpen.
Yeah.
Bullpen's always a problem. What do you think about Trey Turner having the second most errors in the past 2 years in the whole MLB?
Well, he sucks. He's flat out sucks. $300 million.
Terrible.
He sucks. He's the worst player. I could go out there and feel better. It's pathetic. He's a
I don't know about that.
Well, no, I do know about that. I have now. Here's the difference between me and Trey Turner. I have fundamental baseball IQ. I have fundamental baseball talent. He doesn't even have the fundamentals down.
Speed.
Huh?
He's got a little speed.
No. Speed don't matter. You can't catch the ball.
Can't catch the ball. He can't friggin' track them. He can't do shit.
He can't do anything. He's a loser. He's a bum. So you got anything else for me, my man? No, nothing else. So wait, hold on. So you do like the Saquon Barkley on the Madden cover, or you do not?
I don't. Oh, no. I think it's bad luck. Bad juju.
Bad luck. There it is. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that phone call. I mean, everybody is everybody's fed up with Trey Turner. I mean, obviously later in the show, I'm going to get to Trey Turner because he is just pathetic. He's a loser. He's a loser. Trey Turner is a loser. So, but what I was getting into before I got the call in, look, that was the most pathetic ABs put together in game one. I mean, it was completely uninspiring. It was ground out after ground out after ground out. And the worst part about it was they faced two nobodies on the mound. Who in the hell is DL Hall? And I don't even know his first name, Priester? I mean, it was like a joke. The Phillies made them two look like Cy Youngs out there. I've never heard of these guys. It was ground in after ground out, swinging at pitches outside the zone. Cluelessness, swinging at pitches early in the count. It was the most uninspiring and pathetic baseball put together from a baseball team, from an offensive standpoint. Now, it didn't just end on game one. Oh, no, why would it end on game one? Why would it? Why would it? Nah. Let's continue that pathetic baseball throughout the rest of the series. It was pathetic. Now, when I say that, because there's times a baseball team is going to consistently roll over, ground out, whatever, fine. But they work themselves in the bad counts. They work themselves, early in the game, or throughout the entire game, they were just swinging at pitches just to swing. And then the worst part about it was, I'm going back, and when I'm done the game, because I was at the game. So when I was done at the game, I was re-listening to and re-watching and the whole 9 yards to Scott Franzke on the WIP call, and then Tom McCarthy doing the TV broadcast. And I'm listening. And the whole time they're talking about how DL Hall, DL Hall and this Priester dude are just have an enormous walk rate. They walk guys all the time. Apparently, according to the Phillies broadcast. So you're telling me we faced two nobodies as pitchers, and we made them look like Cy Youngs, but their walk rate is enormous. It's an enormous rate. So we kept rolling over. We couldn't get hits. We couldn't get guys on base. And we couldn't walk, even though we were facing two guys that walk the most batters in the league. If that doesn't scream an issue, then I don't know what else there is. If that doesn't scream a problem from management down to the players, from Kevin Long down to the players, I don't know what will. Like, you have two of the most pathetic pitchers. I've never heard of them. And they're out there out-dueling Taijuan Walker and getting pitches by you, forcing you to roll over, just putting you in the grave. It's pathetic. It's pathetic out of this baseball team. And it's a sin. This baseball team, maybe me and the other people are overreacting, right? Maybe we're just overreacting and it's not an issue. But I believe it's an issue. It's been an issue. And I just think like this baseball team and what they do and how they play baseball, it's like, well, like how we kind of sat there and excused their play. And what I mean by that is when they swept Pittsburgh, when they swept Colorado, and then they went out and they swept, or they didn't sweep, but they won the series against Oakland, right? We kind of excused them and said, oh, best baseball team in the league, best record in the league, best baseball team. They're going to win it all. People are back on that bandwagon. But I just, people tend to excuse the glaring holes in a team. And there is too many glaring holes on this Phillies team. Too many. Bullpen. This bullpen is exhausted already. This bullpen is beyond cooked already. Beyond cooked. Man, they're done. Team's falling apart, man. The team is falling apart. All right, call in. Appreciate it. Call in. So they're cooked. They're overused. They're exhausted. It's not a good bullpen, number one. And then you put together and you have to. What's up, man? State your name and where you're from.
Yo, Ryan, I'm from Philly. Long time listener. I love your show, man.
Thanks, man.
Yo, this team, they got out hustled. You know how bad it was this weekend? The other team just ran crazy on them. I've never seen anything like it.
Well,
they couldn't stop the run. They were hitting singles all day. It was,
Well, I've seen baseball scores like be like that, and it happens here and there. But the worst part about it is that we didn't respond or bounce back yesterday, which was a problem. So let me ask you this: what was the worst part about this series to you?
I'll tell you the worst part. We are a home run hitting team that don't hit home runs.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, only Schwarber. Where's everybody else? Everybody is just like. They got like no power. I think we miss Rhys Hoskins.
We do. And like the worst part is I listen to these people that are like, we don't need Rhys Hoskins because he's another streaky hitter and he's too slow for the bases. He's a guy that, he jolts this team. He brings an energy to this team. And Kyle Schwarber tried his best to spark the team over the weekend, and he literally couldn't do it himself. The team is just it's pathetic. It really is.
Yeah.
What else?
And one more thing, Ryan.
Go ahead. Of course, you got
Luzardo. Why would they leave him out there to get rung up for 11 runs?
Yeah,
that makes no sense. Isn't he like your horse? You're gonna treat your best player like that?
Well, he's basically like when I think about it is when you're getting your ass handed to you like that, you're getting pantsed and spanked around. You usually put in your worst bullpen arm to go in and just take the beating for you. That's one. Or two, if you have a starter, so let's say it's Taijuan Walker that's out there, you let Taijuan take the beating like that. You let Taijuan take the beat. You don't let Jesus Luzardo, who's arguably been your ace and been a Cy Young candidate for the majority of the year. Now that's tanked because you left him in there too long. You just don't let him take in there and take the beating. I thought that was a horrible managerial decision.
Horrible.
It was horrible.
You see any changes coming? Because I think this team's going to cheap out and get nobody.
Oh, I'd be surprised if they do get somebody.
Okay.
I mean, they should get somebody. Don't get me wrong, but if they get somebody, and they may, but they have to. They literally have to, and it'll be like another minor move, like another Tanner Banks or somebody that moves the needle, not even a little bit, not as much as we need. Dombrowski still thinks center field is a great spot. He still thinks Kepler's an answer. So I mean, he still thinks his bullpen's great. Like before Alvarado got hurt or got suspended, we needed a bullpen arm. Now you lose Alvarado, you need a second bullpen arm. That's what so it's like, I doubt they'll get anybody because the players aren't playing up to their standard. The only person right now that you could trade and get good value for is Ranger Suarez, and I'm not sure I want to give up Ranger. I don't think any other team wants a Bohm or wants a turn. Like, I don't think anybody. These guys are just overrated, and they suck.
Yep.
They suck. They do.
You know, it's the craziest thing, Ryan.
Yeah.
We were first place. Skies are clear. Everything was great last week, and now this week,
well, that's
falling down again.
That's how it always is. But like, and I was saying this before you called in. It was like, well, you're playing a team. You swept out the Pittsburgh Pirates, arguably the worst team in the league. You play Colorado. You sweep them. They shouldn't even be a team. They're like a minor league team. And then you play Oakland, who's not like the rollover team that they once were, but they're also not, a playoff team. And you beat them, and everybody thought that this team was great. Everybody thought this team is going to go win a World Series. I was one of the people that were like, hey, we're playing losers. So I think this is, I don't think this is the way that the Phillies actually are. I don't think they're this bad. But I don't believe that they're as good as other people make them seem. I mean, it's far stretched, man. It really is.
One last question. I'm going to hang up after this question
go ahead, man.
And just listen on YouTube.
Yep.
The Phillies did really poor after June last year. You see that happening again. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you for the call, man. You're the man. Before I answer that question, make sure you please subscribe. I don't know if you're subscribed or not, but if you are not, please subscribe and please like this video. I really appreciate it, and send this to people you know. Please, brother, please. But they fell off last year, like my man just said in the phone call. They fell off last year, and it was bad. It was pathetic, and I don't know if I see this team falling off the way that they did last year. I don't see that. But at the same time, I don't see them winning over 95 games. And I don't see them winning. They may fall off. From what I've seen, this baseball team, the pitching staff, the bullpen, they're not good, but they're also just overused. They're exhausted. And you can tell. You use Orion Kirkring almost every game. You use Romano at least twice a series. Strom's overused. Joe Ross is overused. You are short-handed in the bullpen, which then leads you to overwork your guys. And they're all overworked. They're all overused. So your bullpen's not good, number one. And then, so when you don't have a bullpen, it's hard to win games. And it's hard to close teams out. It's hard to put them away. It's hard to do that. We don't have a bullpen. And this team, just the team in general, the Philly, the offense, they're way too streaky. Like when you're too streaky. Now, here's the thing. When you're too streaky, it's hard to find a happy medium. Like when they're over, when they score a bunch and they're cranking balls out of park, whatever, they're great. But when they're in their valley, it's bad. It's bad. And you can't get them out of it. It's pathetic. So every team goes through their peaks and their valleys, and every team out there goes through their sense of streakiness. But when this baseball team gets into a streak, man, it's a streak. It's bad. It's bad. It really is. So, I have a bunch of topics based on last night. I really do. I mean, it is just because when the team puts me in the position to talk about them like this, and I'm a baseball guy. I'm a Phillies guy. Sure I am. But this is not where I want to be. I don't want to be sitting here on a Monday night just talking smack about my baseball team. So here's this, and I'll tell you this exactly, man. Knowing the way that the Brewers beat you down and pantsed you the night before on Saturday, I expected you to come out differently on Sunday. I expected you to put better plate appearances together. I expected you to score runs. And you didn't. You came out flat again. You came out like you just didn't want to be there. And honestly, that falls on Rob Thompson. That falls on the manager. He should have went in that clubhouse Saturday night, started throwing shit, cussing them out, and made them play differently, come out differently on Sunday. It falls on the manager. You don't have your team ready and energized to play a baseball game after they allowed a team to put up 17 runs on them. That's on you. So, the way you played on Saturday and the way you let them beat you down and you didn't come out differently, shame on you. Shame on you. I mean, really. You get bounced, you get rocked, you get spanked the way that you did. And you don't play better baseball the next day? You don't play differently the next day? That's ridiculous. And that directly falls on the manager. It directly falls on the manager. Especially with the way you got a gem out of Ranger Suarez. You got a gem out of Suarez. And you put up 2 runs early. And I'm not saying you had to put up 500. You didn't have to put up 5, 6, 7, 8 runs. You didn't have to. But you got the lead early, and you got a very, very, very Ranger-type start. And you couldn't capitalize on that. You couldn't build. That's shame on you. And realistically, that's a shame on Rob Thompson and the manager. It's a shame. Disgrace. That's a disgrace. Oh my God. I don't get where this baseball team is, man. The coaching doesn't care. The team doesn't care. I mean, knowing the way that you got spanked by the Brewers on Saturday, you allowed 17 runs. I expected you to come out differently on Sunday. I expected Rob Thompson to give a message and a speech and throw shit around the clubhouse and make you guys come out and play better baseball the next day. You got 2 runs early in the game, and you had a great start out of Ranger Suarez, and you still couldn't capitalize. Trey Turner still can't field a ground ball. Weston Wilson, it's like a joke. He was out doing twists around there out in the outfield. Still couldn't catch the fly ball. You had to send a message. You had to stop the bleeding. And you didn't. You didn't. And that directly falls on Rob Thompson, the manager. I'm sorry. It does. And I'm a Rob guy. I've been a Rob guy. But it's just, any other manager would have sat his guys down in that clubhouse after Saturday, cussed them out, or gave them a heartfelt message, something to energize them. They came out flat, no energy, jogging, no fundamental baseball, no fundamental catching. You can't read a fly ball. You learn how to do that when you're 6. It's a joke. That was pathetic. Another thing. The $300 million Trey Turner needs to step up. Your other $300 million superstar, by the way, is out. So Trey Turner, who's getting paid $300 million, has to step up. Without Bryce Harper, This team is clueless. They're clueless. And like when I say this about Trey Turner, it's kind of like this. It's like, well, Trey. Trey's getting paid $300 million. He's supposed to be a leader. He's supposed to be a great shortstop. He's none of them. And everybody was giving him praise over when we were on the road. He was getting all them singles. You're a loser. He sucks. He's a loser. So we could say whatever we want. I could say whatever I want. Trey Turner sucks. He sucks. And man, he sucks. You're getting paid $300 million. 300. Your other $300 million guy is out. But he's a superstar. He's hurt. So you're getting paid $300 million. You can't field. You can't hit. What can you do, Trey? Trey! What can you do? The answer to that is nothing. Trey Turner can't do nothing. I can't. I'm starting to friggin' sweat. I'm pissed. I'm angry. I can't stand this baseball team any longer. I just can't. I can't take them. 215-839-8246. You have the same frustration as me, same anger. Please call in. Let's vent together. Let's be angry together. Again, 215-839-8246. Number is also on the screen. Also, if you guys please hit the like button right on the video. It's literally free to do so. And hit some subscribe button. Again, free to do so. Please hit like. Please subscribe. Please send this to people you know. Please call in. Let's talk about this game. Let's talk about it all. Next one. Let me read where I want to go here. I'll go here. Let me tell you this. My caller earlier brought it up. Rob Thompson leaving Jesus Luzardo in that game Saturday to take that beating is disgraceful. That is a horrible managerial decision. Horrible. It's bad. Like, Rob Thompson leaving Jesus Luzardo in the game Saturday to take that beating. I mean, it was bad. Like, it was bad. I mean, it's just single, gap. I mean, it was like, I've never seen him like that before. But Rob Thompson leaving Jesus Luzardo in that game to take the beating is piss poor coaching. Jesus Luzardo, arguably your ace so far this year, in the Cy Young conversation, you don't leave him in that game. If it's Taijuan Walker, I say, hey, let him take the beating, try to save the bullpen. Or you go out there and you try to put one of the loser bullpen guys in. You do not let Jesus Luzardo, who very early in the game you saw he did not have his best stuff. You don't leave him in that game to take the beating. You definitely don't leave him in there to give up 11 earned runs. That's piss poor managing out of Rob Thompson. And another thing about Rob is he did the same thing Friday night. When I was at the game, he left Taijuan Walker in that game way too long. Way too long, folks. Now, like, I can live with Taijuan Walker. Like, if Taijuan Walker was in Jesus Luzardo's position, I would say keep him in there, try to save the bullpen. I don't care what Taijuan Walker's ERA is. He's a shitter. Just leave him in there. Let him get shelled. You don't let Jesus do it. But anyway, Friday night, as I said, I was at the game, and I watched Taijuan Walker have some trouble early. Figured it out here and there. Not his best, but, it's Taiwan. And he started to get shelled. He started to get rocked. And Rob left him in way too long, which then cost it. Then he puts in his little boyfriend, his little coach's pet, little teacher's pet, Tanner Banks in the game. And Tanner Banks gives up a 3-run blast to Yelich. Opposite field, by the way. Lefty on lefty, they put that loser Tanner Banks in, who honestly hasn't been too bad this year. He's also overworked, but he comes in and he just gets shelled too. So I thought Rob had a tough time this weekend knowing when and where to take guys out. He had no idea. He was clueless when it came to that. Taiwan in too long. Jesus. Excuse me. Jesus was really too long. Jesus was bad. And you knew early in the game he didn't have it, and you still left him in here to take that beating. That's bad coaching. It's just bad coaching. It really is. And, most people would sit here and say, hey, the worst game of the weekend was Saturday. I mean, deep down, bad. Gave up 17 runs. You had no life. Your ace got shelled. But the worst game was not Saturday. The worst game of the series was actually Sunday. Because even though you got spanked in Saturday, you came out with no life. You came out with no energy. You got 2 runs early on in the game and had a great game out of Ranger Suarez. You had a gem from Suarez. And you blew it because your defense from your $300 million shortstop is putrid. You blew it because your ball reading ability by your left fielder stinks. So you had a chance Sunday to stop the bleeding, put it into it, try to capitalize, just try to salvage it. And they tried to do it, but they were unable to complete the job. They were quite literally unable to do the job. And that hurts me. That hurts me. And Ranger was pissed about it. Did you see him? When Weston Wilson... So first of all, he was pissed when Trey missed that ball. Then he was pissed. Did you see him? Weston Wilson, he's going back, right? He's going back. He's turning, doing little ballerina head movements. Over his head. Over his head. Ranger turns around, starts shaking his head. He's all pissed. Then he gets in the bullpen. They put another guy that's overworked, Orion Kirkring. They put Orion Kirkring in. Kirkring gets shelled. He gets shelled. As usual, though. It's pathetic. He gets shelled. Yeah. And he was pissed about that too, Ranger. Pissed. Because one of the runs was charged to him. So, yeah, it's just, the worst game, statistically speaking, was Saturday. Kept 17 runs. But Sunday was also pretty bad. Because the thing is, you had the lead. You were winning that baseball game. You had every opportunity to win that game. And you didn't win it. You didn't win it. You did not win it. And it's frustrating. It really is. It is frustrating to watch this baseball team night in and night out. It really is. So, I guess the positive news over the weekend is Mick Abel gets called back up to the MLB. They moved Taiwan Walker to the pen. Now, Let me rephrase that, folks. The good news out of the weekend, and there was a lot of bad things from this weekend, but the good thing from this weekend is Mick Abel gets called back up to the major leagues, and Taijuan Walker, hasta la vista, you're out to the pen. Mick Abel's starting this week in Toronto. So my question to that is, why did we not think of this? Why did we not do this when Mick Abel literally outdueled Paul Skeens? He outdueled him. Why are we thinking of this now when Taijuan Walker continuously gets shelved and he's obviously not the best pitcher for the job? Why did we send Mick Abel down there? Why did we let Mick Abel go? Why did we just allow Taijuan Walker to go out there and put us in worser positions to win? Why did we not go with the best option to begin with? Did we have to go through all of this to finally get a Mick Abel in the starting rotation? Like, I get it, man. And initially on my piece of paper, I had Mick Abel was supposed to start Thursday, but again, that was updated just recently because Zach Wheeler had a baby or is having a baby, whatever one it is. So now Mick Abel will be starting Wednesday, folks. So Mick Abel's Wednesday. Taijuan Walker gets sent to the pen. They said Walker is going to be like a one inning out of relief type of a guy. They said that's what his role is going to be. Let's see how many frigging games he could blow up with in that position, huh? Let's see how many games he could freaking shell us. It is such a joke. This baseball team is such a friggin' joke. Again, right, like Paul Skeens got outdueled by Mick Abel. What was that, 2 weeks ago now? And and at the time, everybody told the Phillies what to do. They said this is the best idea. Nobody listened to us. Rob Thompson didn't listen to us. Nobody listened to us. We told him, keep him up. He's your best chance at winning. And they didn't listen. They didn't care. They could care less. And that's the problem with this baseball team. That's the problem with this management. Mick Abel was obviously the best choice for that job since Nola got put on the IL. But they still want to stick it out this Taijuan, who sucks. But he looks willing to move to first. To the bullpen. Looks willing to do it. So why did it take you so long to do it, Rob? Why did it take you so long to do it, Dombrowski? You sent down one of our best guys out of the minor leagues, sent him back down in the minor leagues. Why? Because you wanted Taijuan to see if he could figure it out. You wanted Taijuan to see if he had a little more juice left in the tank. Well, he didn't. And we knew he didn't for a very long time. We knew he didn't. So, say whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Phillies got swept and shelled over the weekend. And I don't think people are reacting the way that they should. That was pathetic. It was uninspiring. And it's scary. Like, we played this team, without Bryce. But you shouldn't be getting crushed like that without Bryce Harper. Just because you don't have Bryce Harper now, mind you, I understand Bryce Harper's a major league superstar. I understand Bryce Harper's the best player on your team. I get that. And I didn't expect you to crush him. But you couldn't go out there with any little bit more of a fight. You couldn't go out there a little bit differently. You couldn't go out there with more fight, with more energy. You're telling me you couldn't do that? It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. And folks, it's pathetic. We outdueled them. Like, I just don't get it with this baseball team, and I never have. They play with so much energy and spark, then they just roll over and shit themselves the next day. Like, this is the most inconsistent baseball team. The only consistent part of this team, I thought, well, they still are. I mean, I'm not going to hold them to over the weekend, but the most consistent part of this team has been the starting pitching, which, mind you, has been great. It has not been great. But, it is what it is. And, and you just do what you can do. I don't know. It is what it is. This team is pathetic. This team's bad. Well, no, I keep saying that, but this team is not that bad. This team's not that bad. They just don't play to their potential. And at this point, who does that fall on? Your coach is supposed to get the team to their potential, and he's not getting them to the potential. Like, your team's a very good baseball team. They've been very good, and we know they're very good. But you're there and can't play and are inconsistent. Your bullpen's falling apart. Your offense stinks most of the time. Who does that fall on? Your coach, as your manager, is supposed to get you better. He's supposed to get you to the will to play at this point. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm just blowing hot smoke at this point. Blowing black air. I don't know. This team frustrates me. And you know what? They like to do that. This baseball team loves to tweak me out. They're not as bad as they've been playing. They were never, bad. They're just an inconsistent team that's not managed the right way consistently. So this baseball team, they have a problem with consistency. I don't. It's supposed to be about consistency. He can't get them to play consistent baseball. He honestly can't get them to do anything. So it falls all on the manager. Rob Thompson has to do a better job. So I'm not going to sit here and say that the Phillies are going to crumble now or whatever. Please, everybody, would everybody please like, subscribe if you're watching the show. Please, I'm begging you, like, subscribe, comment. Call into the show, 215-839-8246. If you forget what I said, number is also on the screen. There's just the likes, the subscribes, everything helps out. But let's take another phone call. What's up, man? State your name and where you're from.
Hey, it's Alex from Malika Township.
What's up, brother?
Nothing. I just want to talk about the Phillies real quick.
Yep.
Against teams that are actually capable of hitting a baseball like the Brewers, we see what happens. The team simply isn't built for Red October right now.
Mm-hmm.
They need to make a lot of moves at the deadline, whether it's get a relief pitcher, which they desperately need, or a center fielder, which they desperately need. Or how about we move Trey out of shortstop and put him anywhere else on the field, which they need to do. Maybe center field. He's fast. He can play center. He's not going to make as much errors in center. He's got a good arm. Move Bryce to shortstop, get a second baseman, or Bryson to shortstop, get a second baseman. So they just have a lot of work to do. And I think Rob needs some more energy. He needs to, get the guys fired up. Because this happens every year, whether it's, they have, they beat a bunch of terrible teams like the Rockies and whoever they beat. I know they didn't play the Marlins, but they're going to beat the Marlins. They're going to beat the Rockies. They're going to beat Washington. But then when we play the Brewers, Dodgers, we got the Cubs coming up. I mean, like the way they're playing right now, we're going to get swept by the Cubs.
Yeah. Well, the Cubs are playing great baseball this year. They're playing wonderful baseball.
I know, but if you look at the Cubs versus our rosters, we've probably got a top 3 roster in the MLB,
Absolutely.
but they're playing like a bottom 10 roster right now.
Well, that's what I was saying. I don't know if you were listening to the show or whatever, but what I was saying before you called, I was like, well, I'm saying that the team's playing pathetically right now and whatever, but they're not this bad. We know the team is not this bad. They're just inconsistent, and at this point, that kind of is falling on the manager. You allowed 17 runs Saturday, and you didn't come out with any other energy. You didn't come out with any spark. You didn't come out looking for revenge or to at least stop the bleeding. They still came out flat. Like that falls on the manager.
Yeah, I agree. Rob needs some more energy. Like, if you look at other managers in the league, like I know Aaron Boone may not be like a great manager decision-wise, but, the Yankees play with some fight. They play with energy. They play with pride. Right now, the Phillies are missing energy and pride.
They are. And, it's just you got a gem out of a Ranger yesterday. You got 2 runs early, and you were just unable to hold on. I don't get it. And, yeah. So what else do you have Phillies wise about over the weekend, or really anything else but the Phils?
Nothing much. I'm just happy Bryce is going to be back and healthy. That would have been such a disaster if he was out for more than a few weeks.
No, well, hold on. How do you feel before I let you go? How do you feel about Mick Abel coming up?
I like him. I still think he needs another year or two because, I know a lot of people are saying put him into bullpen or, do whatever when Nola comes back. But, you don't want to waste his arm into bullpen. Just let him pitch AAA because more than likely, this is probably going to happen like 90%, I'm pretty sure. They're going to move on from one of our 5 starting pitchers, whether it's Nola, Ranger, or I don't think they'll move on from Luzardo, but definitely Nolan Ranger. So then, you got Painter coming up. I'm sure Taiwan's going to stay in the bullpen, but,
right.
We're paying Taiwan way too much money to be just a bullpen pitcher. He's getting paid, $20 million, $18 million to be a bullpen arm?
Yeah, he's getting
that's
paid a
ridiculous.
lot. Yeah.
But, I think he'll be good next year. Same with the Painter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're definitely going to get rid of, I think, one of our 5 starting pitchers come next year, if not by the deadline.
I do agree with that. Well, Alex, thank you for the call. I like the thing is, right, like everybody that really understands baseball and really watches this Phillies team day in and day out, they all feel the same way about this team. And it's like they're upset and they know that this team is better than they play. We know that this team is statistically, mentally, all facets of the game better than the Brewers. They're better than a lot of teams. They have the best. I believe the Phillies have the best rotation in the league. And on paper, think of when I see on paper, think about the names on this Phillies team. Think about the names, Harper, Schwarber, Castellanos, Turner, JT, who just sucks. But we finally saw life out of JT. It is on paper, this is one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league. And they're not playing like it. And I've been a Rob guy. I'm always be a Rob guy. But Rob, it's tough, right? I think he has to do a better job of getting the guys, ready to play. I think that's a big part. I think that's a big key. And I keep coming back to the fact where I said, you got crushed on Saturday. You allowed 17 runs. and you didn't come out with any different type of energy, any different type of spark, any different type of anything. You didn't come out with anything. That falls on the manager. Like, and I said this again, any other manager out there would have lost his mind in the clubhouse after Saturday, would have lost their mind out there. I would have went into the clubhouse if I was the manager, flip shit, smash shit. What you got to do? You got to put a message across. But I mean, obviously, we know Rob has a different way of handling things. We know that. But the fact, and there'll be, and there'll be people out there that say, hey, the Phillies they'll say, hey, well, this is what they'll say. They'll say, hey, how do you know Rob Thompson didn't say anything in the clubhouse? Have you met Rob Thompson? Have you listened to Rob Thompson? I don't think the guy has been upset once. He wasn't upset after Strider hit Harper. Right? Like, and even if he is upset, there's no way he went down into the clubhouse and tried to make a difference. There's no way he went down into the clubhouse and started flipping shit and screaming and yelling. There's no way. So for all the people that go, how did you know Rob didn't do it? He probably did. He did. I'm sure he did it. Because I bet you right now, all we ever hear about is how much the team respects Rob and loves Rob and, the whole 9 yards, right? So that's what we hear. I bet you if he went down there after Saturday and lost his mind on the guys, they would have came out differently. They would have played with a little bit of spark, a little bit of fire, because they claim to love and respect Rob. If you love and respect your manager and your manager flips shit, you come out differently. And you want to play better for Rob, for your manager, for the guys alongside of you. And I'm a Rob guy. But this series, a lot of it was on him. They allowed that for allowing Jesus Luzardo to take that beating, for allowing the team to come out with no energy, no spark, and no fight on Sunday. I don't know. The team just feels dead without Bryce, and you can't have that. The biggest mistake the Phillies have made in the past 5 years is not firing a single coach or personnel after last year's fallout. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. You got bound. You had one of the worst epic collapses last year. You played 500 baseball from June on through September and got bounced in the first round of the playoffs. You got bounced in the NLDS by your division rival, who, by the way, pulled your pants down and spanked you around for 4 games. I get we won. They came in. They took game 1. They came back and took game 1 with your best relievers on the mound. Took game 1. JT Realmuto had not a single hit in 4 games. Harper was Castellanos was the best player of that series for the Phils. And then Schwarber was mid. All these guys, not a single difference maker. And I like their approach that falls on Kevin Long. There's a lot of different things. And I think last year, not firing a single person hurts. And it shows that like not doing that shows like, hey, you could do whatever you want. We don't care. And I don't like that. I don't like that message from my ball club's management. You guys don't have to play up to your potential, and we'll and it doesn't matter. Rob will stay. Kevin Long, even though he's a disastrous hitting coach, because we can never find a good approach, he could stay. I think that's where I am when it comes to this. Am I overreacting? Most likely, but I'm angry. I want my baseball team to win, and even if they're not going to win, because you're not going to win every single game, but even if this team put up just better fight They have better energy. They looked like they wanted to be there. I would feel differently. I would feel better about this baseball team. If they came out with more energy, just a will to win, just like they wanted to be there, I would feel much better about it. But the fact they had not a care in the world, they just got swept at home. They got their ass handed to them at home. And mind you, I think a lot of people forget about this. The Phillies could have gotten swept by the Braves. In game one, on Tuesday, almost a week ago, they only won 2-0. That game was right in striking distance for the Braves. Then the doubleheader, we almost lost game one. We almost blew it. The bullpen almost blew it. If it wasn't for the Marchand masterclass and the Marchand throwing out Ozzie Albies at second base, trying to save Romano would have blew the game and we would have lost. And then obviously we know what happened game two of the doubleheader. So the Phillies were a couple hits, couple plays away, and that Braves team was from getting swept. And then that team had no fight, no energy, and no will to win at all. Like even Friday night where it was somewhat close, whatever, for a little bit, for the majority, it was somewhat close. No will to win throughout that entire game, throughout that entire series. Also, Rob's job isn't to be the to be the players' friends. His job is to manage them, whether they like it or not. He's too worried about being buddy with the players. Some point, he put his foot down. Now, here, like I do agree with this statement, but at the same time, I do believe, like being like a coach, you're supposed to, and you're supposed to have a good relationship with your guys. I 100% believe he has a good relationship with his guys, but then there's a difference between you. Like you can't allow them to walk all over you. Like you can still have a good relationship with all of your players, be friends with all of your guys, and still manage them like a manager would. Because you could be one of their best friend. You could be the best friend of all the guys on the roster in the clubhouse. But on that field, in that dugout, you have to coach them like your life depends on it. Like his job depends on it. You can't just be friends with players. We get that he is, but that's not the only thing you can do. You have to be better. But, guys, I appreciate you all for tuning into the show. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Send this to people you know. Like, please, I'm begging you. Like. Hold on, hold on, before 2020. If that's a true statistic, that's wild. Now, the one last statistic, and I thought I said this earlier, but I guess I didn't. The Phillies, the last time they lost this many games in a row, have gotten swept, and have lost. So they've lost 4 games in a row. The last time the Phillies have won or have lost this many games was back when they lost the last game of the Miami series at home, then got swept by the by the Mets, and then lost game 1 to the Cubs of that series. That's 5 losses. Right now we're at 4. So that was the last time they really got beaten down this much. But yeah, guys, so I'm trying out a new thing. I'm doing shows. Just so you guys know, live shows like radio. We're doing live shows just like radio style, live call-ins, comments, the whole 9 yards, just like WIP and everywhere else. Live radio type shows every day, every weekday, from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. right here on YouTube. If you guys are just joining the stream, or if you've been on the stream, whatever, make sure you guys please like, subscribe, send this to people you know. That it's greatly appreciated. It really, really, really helps me out. Ryan, can we call you anytime and you can play our voicemails? Yes. If you guys are unable to call into the show, like now, like I'm doing a live show right now. If you guys are unable to call into the show now, like when I'm live, send a voicemail and I'll play it like it's, regular, right? I'll play it like it's regular. Obviously, there's a text line. If you guys don't want to use your voice, whatever, there's a text line. I'll listen to the text messages. Yeah. So you can call in anytime. You can call in at 3 a.m. Leave a voicemail. right after Phillies games and I'm not going live, whatever the case is, you guys can call in. You guys call in at live on the show. Call in right after games. When I'm not live, whatever you guys want to do, that's greatly appreciated. Please, 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 I'm begging you. Please subscribe. Please send this to people you know. Please like the video. It really, really, really does go a long way. It really does. But yeah, guys, live every day, every weekday, 5 to 6 p.m., live here on YouTube. Again, this is Broad Street Sports Unfiltered, proudly sponsored by Broad Street Sports, your home for the best Philadelphia sports talk every day and unfiltered. Thank you all for tuning into the show. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Have a good one. See you guys tomorrow.